Today, our Take 5 with the Saints, February the 3rd, profiles 4 men today who are collectively known as the Dorchester Chaplains, named after a ship in which they were serving as chaplains to the U.S. Army, a ship that was attacked and sunk by a German U-boat as it was traveling from the U.S. to Greenland and then on to the continent as a troop transport. These 4 men who all from different faiths and denominations who each worked together, giving their lives to help save the men on their boat as it was going down to sea. And truly 4 men who serve as a great model for what it means to serve both God and country as military chaplains. Our scripture that goes for today is a very appropriate one for their feast day. It is John chapter 15, verses 9 through 14. Jesus said, "As the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. I have said these things to you so that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be complete. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you." These 4 men, Lieutenant George Fox, who served as a medical corps assistant in World War I, later became a Methodist minister and an Army chaplain as a Methodist. Lieutenant Alexander Goode, who was in the National Guard while he was studying to become a rabbi, and once he became a rabbi, enlisted as an Army chaplain for the Jewish soldiers who were fighting. Lieutenant Clark V. Poling, who was from the Dutch Reformed Church and was discouraged, in fact, by his family. His father, in fact, told him, "Don't become a military chaplain because they have a high mortality rate." But with his prayer and courage and persistence, he ultimately became one and found himself stationed aboard the Dorchesters. You'll hear more in just a second. Last but not least, Lieutenant John P. Washington, who grew up on the streets of Newark, New Jersey, and in fact was a gang leader before finding God, becoming an ordained Roman Catholic priest, and then again assigned as an Army chaplain. All 4 of these men from their various backgrounds found themselves on a ship called the Dorchester, which was a converted cruise ship that was taking troops in this particular voyage from New York City to Greenland, and total amount of people were 902 people on board. On January 23rd, 1943, it set sail. And about 10 days later, on February the 3rd, it's the feast day of February the 3rd, 1 day from arriving at their destination in Greenland, a U-boat fired torpedoes striking the boiler room of the Dorchester. Many of the men were lying down with their life jackets on asleep when the attack happened, but in their rush to get up on deck and determine what had happened, they left their lifeboats, or left their life jackets, I should say, in their quarters. As the boat began to sink, many men began jumping off and trying to flee for their lives. And if you know anything, of course, the sinking of the Titanic, of course, in the North Atlantic, you know from that event that just as many people died from hypothermia in the cold waters of the North Atlantic as they did from drowning. But at the same time, here were these 4 chaplains who from their various backgrounds were walking through the ship, helping soldiers to get up on deck, to get to their stations for evacuation, who were helping to keep them calm, and who in fact were collecting life jackets and passing them out to the soldiers who were invariably running up on deck without their life jackets, even to the point of giving away their own life jackets to those who were in need. So goes the story. As the ship was going down, the 4 chaplains remained on the aft deck, arms linked in prayer, until they went underwater, all 4 of them losing their lives. The military chaplaincy has been an honored position in all of the branches of the United States military, and there are numerous examples of men and women chaplains who have given their lives in service and in defense of their men. But these four men, not just for their stalwart giving of their lives, but by carrying out a faithful and calming presence of reminding people that even in the chaos and impending death that many of these young men were facing on this boat, that God's presence was indeed with them. And so this day we remember these four men: Lieutenant George Fox, Lieutenant Alexander Goode, Lieutenant Clark Poling, and Lieutenant John P. Washington. Thank you for joining me, and I invite you to read more about the Dorchester Chaplains, as there is a whole lot more to the story. Tomorrow we'll be taking a look at the Archbishop of Hamburg Ansgar as our saint of the day. Please join me for that, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care.